Welcome everybody to Yapping Walter. I'm your host Walter, and today we have a guest. Introduce yourself.
How's it going, roadies? My name is Jay Byrne, newbie guitarist, rookie writer, full-time annoyer of evil. How you doing today?
Nice. First of all, how are you doing?
I'm a wee bit weak in the knees because I just woke up, but it's fine. It's fine. I need to get my life together, so it's fine.
Slowly but surely, you will get it.
Slowly but surely.
I think that's that's the way of all people how they handle things. Slowly but surely.
That is the way of things. The way of the force.
I would like people who don't know about you. Let's do a little bit of an introduction, even though you said your name. But like, who are you and what you stream?
Well, I stream just about anything. I'm trying to focus up my content a little bit, do sort of more multiplayer games, more collaborations, more games where I'm just actually interacting with people, because I'm trying to grow my audience as a streamer, and I figure audience participation is a good way to do it.
Yeah, I believe that, and a lot of people do, for example, in I don't know, Call of Duty, for example, they do open lobbies, or in multiplayer games, in a nutshell, they do open lobbies that people can join, and
yeah. Call of Duty is not really my sort of game.
Yeah,
I'm more into
that game to my mind. So
yeah.
And I people like to play with content creators. That's not a that's a fact. And open lobbies and open game sessions work usually.
Yeah.
And that's also a good way to meet new people. If of course the freaking people who are joining aren't dumbasses who are speaking bad all the time for this content creator, that if they are normal behaving people, then it's gonna be fun.
And I met a ton of good people through collabs and open lobby multiplayers, and looking to keep that going.
Yeah, that is a good thing to keep up, because this is only my way of seeing things, but collabs usually are of course, two people or more people meeting each other, of course, but I do see them as a growing way, because if for example, if somebody has I don't know, 4,000 followers, and that content creator who has the 4,000 followers is collabing with I don't know, 10,000 person who has 10,000 followers, of course some people are gonna follow him.
We're all just a bunch of leeches.
Yeah, that is, but that's content creation in a nutshell.
Yeah.
And of course, from that collab, some members of that person who has 10,000 followers will join the 4,000, and all people win in that collab. Hopefully, if the collab goes well and the vibe is there, and you people make content about it, so it's a win-win situation.
Yep.
You don't lose in that, and you don't have, just to make sure, you don't have to collab if you don't want to. Everyone has their own way to do content creation.
Yeah.
If you don't wanna, that's alright. If you want, that's alright. I'm just saying that collabing helps.
Yeah. I need to get out of my shell more and collaborate with more people, because I started VTubing. Well, firstly because I was influenced by other people, and also because I just needed to break out, like I said, break out of my shell a little bit, meet more friends, and you know, because I'm a bit of a shut-in, honestly.
That's anybody can correct me if they know this statistically, but I do feel like most, not all, but most VTubers are like not the most social persons on face to face, but on the internet, and they wanna like play games with others. I tend to believe that's the case.
I've seen a few exceptions, but they're more in the upper rungs of the industry, so to speak.
Yeah, and maybe this is wrong, but like maybe when you get at certain point, or you have done this at certain time, like I don't know, maybe it's, for somebody it's a year, maybe it's for somebody it's 3 months or whatever. Like they get used to like streaming, making content, getting out of their shelf, and that stuff. So I would say maybe it will probably get better when you do it more and more and more.
Absolutely.
And of course, be wary of people, because recently certain VTuber, I'm not gonna mention her name, did oopsie.
Yeah, me either. Just don't do that.
Yeah, but like there is a lot of good people. One bad apple doesn't ruin a bunch of good apples.
Yeah.
And of course, like I said, be wary, but be hopeful for other persons. If
you gotta hold on to hope that there's good people out there in the world. Otherwise, you wouldn't be able to function.
Yeah, exactly, and if you're like in that mindset that everybody is an beep, or like a person who's gonna take advantage you, or like you're not gonna get. First of all, you're gonna lose your mind.
Yeah.
And second of all, it's gonna be kind of sad to be alone all the times.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, single players are great, but once in a while you wanna play multiplayer games with your buddies or collab with somebody else. So.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Just have fun in general when making content. You already kind of answered this, but like, why VTubing and not quote unquote Fleshtuber?
Well, the simple answer is that I am not confident enough to show my face on camera. Like, I don't know. Like, I see VTubing as sort of like wearing a mask, and when you're wearing a mask, people can't really see all sides of you unless you decide to tell them about yourself. And I'm probably not making any sense when I'm saying this, but
well, yeah, I tend to understand that, like that like VTubing. I see that as like somebody, maybe for of course multiple reasons, but like most common is they don't want to show their face, or they want to hide their face in practically wise, and that is understandable because content creation, especially in North America, in Canada, and in USA, can be hella ass because of swatting and all the because it's a North American culture that is like if you're a superstar of a content creation, everybody's like, oh, like you don't, basically, if you get big enough, or if you're a big faceless content creator.
Yes, someone's going to try and take you down for no reason other than spite.
Yeah.
Although for me, it is because I don't have any confidence in my appearance. I'm like, if I take the mask off, people will just be like, "Ew."
I cannot say. I don't. Maybe that would be good. Maybe no. Don't. Maybe not. I don't. It's it's a difficult to say because everybody.
It is. I do acknowledge it's a me problem, and I need to learn to get over it.
I wouldn't exactly say that it's only you problem because like people have that opinion quite a lot with their like how they look and that stuff. But I'm just saying that I don't. Maybe this is a hot take, but like I don't care how I look. If somebody says that I'm ugly, then that is his opinion. I don't care. Like, and yeah, it's for me the same that I don't want to show my face. I just it's not for me.
Yeah.
And yeah, I get that some VTubers are showing their face for actual reasons. Maybe it's they're gonna do a cosplay of their model or whatever. Like they just want to show their face. I don't know, maybe whatever the reason is.
Yeah, I've seen some VTubers like do like redeems or subathon goals where a face reveal is one of the things on the list, and it's treated like a very big deal.
For me, the problem is that VTubing is that like it's kind of like being a superhero, and not in a sense that you're gonna save like a lot of lives, but like in a sense that you are like you are wearing a mask
and secret identities and all that.
You have only the voice and the model, and you don't have to care how the person behind that looks because it's a freaking anime avatar most of the time.
Yeah, although maybe not your real appearance, but they definitely do want to see your real personality because, like we wear the mask as like a form of entertainment, but at the same time, like, what if that mask, the character you're playing as is, a vile piece of shit that frankly no one would want to associate with? Like, if that's people's first impression of you, they might be very, very wary of you.
And that is a fact. And
yeah, which is why I say that immersion in terms of VTubing is kind of overrated most times.
Yep, it is. Well, like I said, maybe for me it's like also that I don't like, maybe a weird take, but like I don't like when people show their faces. It's fine, don't get me wrong, but like VTube is like a freaking mystery kind of like way in for me. Like if, like for example, if I don't know, Shy Lily showed their face, I believe they have showed their face in somewhere.
I believe she has, yes.
But like Shy Lily's model and the voice and the personality is what I usually turn into, like, and it kind of ruins the immersion. I think it's the right word in this case.
Yeah, but like I said, immersion's kind of overrated because when you tune into a content creator, you're there for their personality. Like, you want to see the real them, and like is this someone I would want to hang out with, to be friends with in real life? And creators really need to make sure that that's the kind of atmosphere they create, somewhere that people are going to be safe talking to them, safe talking to each other, and not feel threatened or bullied or something like that.
Yep. And also don't I have said this in previous episodes, but we are not mental health helpers. We don't know any. Most of us don't know jack shit about mental health problems. No. Go to your local therapist to help.
Yeah, I am happy to hear people's problems and try and do my best to help them with it. But like I'm not a therapist. I'm not even close to being one. So stop it. Get some help.
There, like I said, go to your therapist and fix that. Don't go to a VTuber that you watch and ask their help, because most of the time they don't know jack shit what to do.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Like, I've been seeing a therapist for a good long while now, and it's helped me out a lot because even if we don't really find a way to help me deal with what's going on in my head, at the very least, I can unload a lot of stuff and just vent it out to someone who is looking at it from a more objective standpoint.
Yeah, and in if you're gonna watch Vtubers or any content creation, just watch there for their entertainment value. Don't be like, I need help. Yeah. There's actual help for that. Go for those, not your local Vtubers.
Yeah.
Like the content creation in and of itself can be a really good helpful tool for, like, maybe I watch like freaking watching a let's play for a game that you haven't played, I don't know, 10 years, and you remember finally the name of the game, and you are coming back and seeing that some content creators doing a let's play of that, or somebody makes great, I don't know, anime videos. You watch that and you have a good time because and
like we can be therapeutic, but we're not therapy.
Yeah. Yeah, and like, yeah, most of the time VTubers are gonna have just fun. That's gonna be probably the biggest thing that VTubers and content creators are aiming for. Of course, there are like educations and documentary stuff, but like most of the time YouTubers and content creators are about just having fun.
Yeah.
Because why the hell not? If you're yourself and you make good enough content and people find you're gonna have an audience. Because
and speaking from experience, like, do not go and try and dump all your problems on a specific content creator, because honestly, they probably want to help, but again, it's not their responsibility to help you. Yeah. It's your responsibility to seek out proper help.
Yeah.
And that's all I'm going to say about that, because honestly, dumping all this stuff on someone who doesn't know who you are, but you do respect them a whole lot, it's just going to make you feel worse in the long run. And it's not going to concern them because it's not their responsibility.
Yeah, and of course, like, if there are actual like problems that VTubers can help, if it's a work related and they have the same work, like maybe they are an editor, maybe they are, for example, a video editor, and that viewer is asking for help or advice for that. Maybe the VTuber knows.
Like it's okay to ask for advice about something specific that you know they have experience in. Like if someone were to come to me and ask for and say they have problems with obsessive compulsive disorder, I'd be able to fully understand and do my best to help. Again, you're better off seeing a therapist than talking to my dumb ass. But but like I'd be able to tell you what I know about it, my experiences with it, and just try and do my best to help. Exactly. I can't guarantee I'll do too much, but I will try my hardest.
Exactly. And yeah, of course, like I said, and we have said this quite a lot, go to your therapist and that stuff. It's gonna be fine. At least hopefully. What games you what? Yeah, I'm trying to remember the fucking question that I had.
English language
is difficult. What games so far that you have streamed have stayed in your mind after you have played that game fully through?
Well, what I used to do was play games like 100% all the way through, like games I've that I've done it on before, is because I want to share those experiences with people. Like, shit, what was the last one I did? Well, my favorite series is The Legend of Zelda, with the Wind Waker being my favorite game of all time, and I was able to do 100% run of that, and had a lot of good moments, not just with myself, but with chat as well.
Mm-hmm.
And what's another good one? Crap, it's kind of a hard question, really.
You don't have to like say everything if there's like only few in your mind, but that's fine.
Yeah. And, yeah, that's all I got right now. I'm sure it'll come to me later, but by then it'll be too late.
If anything comes to your mind, just say it, don't worry.
Yeah.
A friend of mine in a previous episode that said that, I believe this was not exactly, but that this was the point that he was making, that for example, Breath of the Wild, like he's also a huge Zelda fan, that said Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdoms are bad Zelda games because they change the formula little too much. But to that argue, I said that basically every game series needs to evolve at some point. And
yeah, I have a friend who's like that. I don't think he doesn't say they're bad games or anything. It's just that he's kind of a stickler for traditions and whatnot. Like, he's a bit stubborn, kind of like a lot of people. And yeah, I can understand Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom not quite fitting everyone's definition of Zelda, because
it's not like exactly a Zelda game. You kind of like.
Well, yeah, but I mean, you can't do the same thing all the time, or else it gets boring. Like to me, that's the same sort of thing as like
sports
between
games.
Link to the Past and Ocarina of Time. Well, not completely, because the formula is still there.
Yeah.
But that's the cool thing about Nintendo games in general, is that they're not afraid to experiment with stuff to try and get the result. I mean, sometimes it goes too far, but
yeah, like I can fully agree. I can fully say that whoever decided to make Scarlet and Violet and release that game when it was, that person needs to be fired, because Jesus Christ, that was criminally made.
I played Violet like a couple months after it released, and a couple patches had come out, and everything was stable. I had a lot of fun with it. I mean, it was better than Sword and Shield, I'll say that much.
The problem with
from a pure content standpoint, that is.
That, yeah, but like a friend of mine that is like a huge Pokemon fan then said that why Zelda team who made Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild just cannot, like, why they cannot do a Pokemon open world, because Game Freak ain't gonna do a good job. Because Arceus was, what I have heard, I haven't played them, but what I have heard, Arceus was a shit show basically, and it looked horrendous.
Well, that's what a lot of people say. I think it's more of the art style. They want to make it look a specific way, because art style can win over pure graphical fidelity any day of the week. It's why people still look at The Legend of Zelda: The Wind Waker and say it looks absolutely beautiful, even though it came out like more than 20 years ago.
Yeah, and like
although yeah, I am inclined to agree that Game Freak has been lacking a little bit in polish recently. But if you look at it from a purely gameplay standpoint, I think that Scarlet and Violet and Arceus are like welcome evolutions to the formula.
I would say I would agree that the idea of like an open world Pokemon game is everybody's I would say probably everybody's kind of like dream, or at least like that sort of idea would be the dream. Like, oh yeah, of course somebody's gonna say Nintendo Switch's hardware is freaking old as hell. It's potato, yeah, but like I don't know, Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild run quite well. Yeah, it was I think 30 FPS or something like that.
Yeah,
but still,
I think that's more to do with like that it was Nintendo making that game, so they knew exactly what sort of hardware they were working with. If you have like a third party that's basically given the Switch's hardware and expected to do something with it, they're not gonna have exactly the best idea of how to navigate around the limitations, because limitations are designed for, not around.
Yeah, and like I'm just saying, Nintendo, I know that you have in the past you have licensed Mario's IP to freaking Philips, whatever the console name was, and that looked horrendous. Yes, but like, come on, give Mario to From Software and let them make a Dark Souls kind of Mario game. I have said Mario. This in the past. I want a Dark Souls style kind of a game to Mario, like which is like I don't mean that like Mario is gonna wield like a grey sword going against Nameless King or anything like that, but like I mean that in a sense that a Mario platformer that is super hard. I want that because I want challenge. Yeah, of course. For example, in Super Mario Odyssey, the challenge is to get all the 900 something moons, but still. Like,
I disagree a little bit there, because Mario is supposed to be for all ages and supposed to be accessible for like everyone.
I know.
Now, if you were to say a super hard Zelda game, that I could understand, because Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild, you could see a bit of Dark Souls DNA in there, because you run the risk of coming up against something that will kill you instantly if you're not prepared for it.
Yeah. Also, Nintendo, please let people emulate your game. It's not about stealing your games. It's about people who aren't willing to pay $500, for example, for a freaking old console to play $200 to $300 for that game. Like, I emulate PlayStation games because I don't have the console, like a working console on working PlayStation 2 on my apartment.
I don't think my PC is strong enough to really emulate those games, but it's,
Actually, like, I can only speak from emulating PlayStation 2 games. They are hella easy. Like, my 10-year-old potato, like, laptop can run them. Thanks. First of all, thanks PCX to emulation, because that software is a piece of art.
Yeah, I used to. I had Project 64, which is a Nintendo 64 emulator, obviously. And what was the other one? The Visual Boy Advance, which is a GBA emulator. Because for a while that was the only way I could play Mother 3, if you've heard of it. Yeah, basically it's like it's an Earthbound game that it never got released in North America, but there was like a fan-made patch for it.
Okay.
And so a ROM's been released on the internet, and also people have actually taking that ROM and putting it on a physical cartridge that you can actually like buy from third-party sites, which is what I did, and that's how I play it now.
Okay.
So it'll run on actual hardware.
Okay. And like,
don't tell Nintendo I did that.
Like, and I know it's a Japanese thing that Japanese companies, for some reason, they don't like emulation and that stuff. at all for some reason. It's a different culture, yes, I know, but still, come on.
Yeah.
Leave a little bit room to emulation because you're doing a poor service of emulation. Just saying.
Yeah.
Like this goes the same as to Sony. For the love of God, Sony, let me buy PlayStation 1 games on PlayStation 5. Port them for God's sake. Hire a third-party studio to port most of the games digitally or physically to PlayStation 5 and let me buy them for God's sake.
Yeah, I've.
And I don't wanna freaking like. I know that nowadays there is some games that you can buy separately, but like most of the games are like tied to like PlayStation Plus tier premium or like tier 2 and tier 3, which I hate.
Yeah.
So Sony, cut the bullshit little bit because you are kind of bullshit sometimes of a company, even though I love you.
I've said this before, and I'll gladly say it again. I think that in terms of the video game industry, Sony is very much like Apple, and that they've had so much success that they've become convinced they can do whatever they want.
It's just the problem is that Microsoft is screwing up more and more and more. So and like it's kind of like this, like I said, like you said, it's similar to Apple, like. What phone you own? Well, most people probably will say Apple. What game console you own? PlayStation 5, probably. Or, of course, there's Nintendo, but like most of the gamers, because PlayStation 5 is selling the biggest, probably one of the big, like, it has the biggest lead compared to like Xbox Series X and Nintendo Switch.
Yeah.
And, well, Nintendo Switch 1 and 2, but like, still, like, and...
Yeah, I mean, the Switch came out like way before that, so it had a bit of a head start. And honestly, the Switch one wasn't even trying to compete with the Xbox or PlayStation anyway. So it's just sort of off doing its own thing.
Yeah, and like the freaking hard Nintendo Switch lacked basically on everything, but like Nintendo's game design, like developers are sometimes quite smart how they develop their games on a potato hardware. Like
and if you give a developer enough tools, they can figure it out and again navigate around the limitations rather than try and develop for them, because sometimes they just don't have enough time to do that.
And money.
and money. Like and people are always like, why put a game in the Switch? It's gonna run terribly. And I remember when the Binding of Isaac Afterbirth was going to come to the Repentance, sorry, like the big DLC that came out a couple of years back. It's coming to all consoles, and like it's on all consoles right now. And I think the publisher said that one of the consoles they'd have to delay it for a little bit, and there was some guy on Twitter who was like, "It's okay, you can tell us it's the Switch. We're not going to be upset." And he said this like over and over again, and then turns out it wasn't the Switch; it was the Xbox.
This I know for a fact that, and not for a fact, but like I agree. I say this a lot, and I hate the Xbox Series S because that thing is the reason why some of the games is running 30 FPS, for example, or they are optimized hella badly, or they are just bad because they have to the optimization of the games is bad. Like Baldur's Gate, for example, Baldur's Gate 3 came out on PlayStation 5 and to PC like August 6th of 2023, but like for Xbox consoles, it came I think like 6 months later because they have to. It's like a necessary thing. They have to like release it on Xbox Series S and X, and like I would say just delete the fucking Xbox Series S. It's an ass console in my opinion. I hate it, even though it is a kind of a good intro way, even though nowadays it's $400 because of price changes, which is ass, but still.
Yeah, I don't know a whole lot about tech stuff, so I'm not really sure. Although, if I can use another Switch game as an example about, so I don't know if anyone remembers that Doom Eternal actually came out on the Switch, and it's surprisingly a very well put together port. I mean, obviously, it doesn't look as good as the other console or PC versions, and it's docked down to 30 frames per second, but like all the content is there, and it's still very fun to play. And there was a thriving online community for it back in the day. It's died down now because we're like 5 years later, but it's just that people can figure out ways around the technology a little bit, and they can find ways to make games happen on hardware that might not necessarily be built for it. It's just that they need enough time and enough of a reason to do it, and enough money, obviously.
And like most of the like AAA games that went and released on Nintendo Switch 1 are mostly like cloud versions because the hardware cannot run the game, and you have
like
to use.
When Kingdom Hearts came to the Switch on cloud versions, I was like, okay, why though? Like, I can understand KH3 having to be a cloud version because it barely runs on PlayStation and Xbox, but the other games are literally just HD remasters of PS2 games. Like, what is going on here?
Like, when I saw Cyberpunk is gonna release on Switch 2, which, by the way, yeah, I'm happy for that, but also it's gonna be terrible.
I don't know. I mean,
it's confirmed that the game runs 40 FPS on a handheld, and on a handheld and on a dock. So it's like,
jeez, what does that even look like? 40 FPS.
Yeah. Like 50 is 50 is almost like 60, of course, but like 40 is like a baby step from 30 FPS. It's little bit smoother, but it's still. Maybe this is a PC elitist mentality, but like I cannot live without 60 FPS nowadays. I cannot. I'm so used to that because I came from PlayStation 4. And every game can run it on 30 FPS.
Yeah, I'm not massive about frame rates, although if I do see a game that, like, if they took a game I remember a while ago and they bring it back and the remaster bumps it up to 60 frames per second, I do feel a little happy with it because it does factually look better.
Yeah. And for example, Capcom does amazing work with their like remasters and remakes with like Resident Evil 2, 3, 4. I know Resident Evil 3 remake was to original fans quite ass because it cut quite many features and the story was not as the same, but like still I loved it.
Yeah, I really liked it, although it was rather lacking in terms of content. I mean, there's even an achievement for beating the game in 2 hours, and like, okay, I mean that's a welcome challenge, but I'm pretty sure that also says something about how much is actually in this game.
But I do give us actually, never mind that game actually when the game was released, because if it was released like 2021, then I understand why some of the content was cut because of COVID. 2020. Okay, yeah, then never mind. But I do feel like this was a bad case of a bad releasing because I believe, maybe I'm wrong, but like I believe the main Capcom team worked on Resident Evil 2 remake, and kind of like the side team worked on Resident Evil 3. And in my opinion,
I think that's exactly what happened because the main team was working on Village at the same time.
Yeah, and
that Resident Evil 3 was being remade.
And you can see how like Resident Evil 2 and Village turn out they are masterpieces in my opinion.
Yeah, I can't play Village. I mean, I can get part of the way through it. Like, I think I've said this on stream, not necessarily to you or any of our friend group. I did try to get through Village, and I was about halfway through Lady D's castle, but I was like shaking behind the controller, not because of anything I was seeing so far, even though, it was bumping up the horror a little bit. It's because I know what happens after Lady D's castle, and I was just dreading it the entire time until I paused the game and said, I can't do this, and I deleted it.
Well,
if anyone doesn't know what I'm talking about that thing in the basement.
Oh, do you mean the baby?
Yeah. The entire team is babies.
That is... I'm trying to think. Yeah, that's probably the second, for me, the second scariest monster in goddamn whole Resident Evil. The scariest being the one dude in Resident Evil 4 that I cannot say, because I'm butchering the name. Refugee... What the fucking monster that keeps breathing like a fucking... the fucking... What the hell?
Oh, the regenerators.
Yeah, that dude. That's my scariest monster.
Yeah, I think they're scary, but
it's just that
I've played the game so much that I've gotten used to them, and also the thing that separates the regenerators from the baby is that
you can
the
kill
regenerators. Well, firstly, yeah, you can kill the regenerators, and second, also because the regenerators, as weird and alien as they look like they do belong in the Resident Evil universe. Like you can see, oh, okay, this is like what happens if there's like so many parasites afflicted to someone that it completely changes their body makeup. Whereas the baby, it just comes right the hell out of nowhere, and there's zero explanation for it other than, Ethan is tripping balls when he sees it.
Yeah, because I believe it was like a hallucination. It didn't actually happen.
But like enough.
Yeah. And also,
yeah, it's and I have said this on stream as well. It's like Silent Hill took over for 10 minutes.
I if I remember correctly, my Resident Evil lore, the refrigerate, that freaking freezer is created by one Las Plagas, but the Las Plagas, the freaking one of the Las Plagas is just have it into that Las Plagas has put in like freaking 100 steroids, and I believe it's the spider Las Plaga that is because in the freaking in the one of in when you arrive where the freaking that hideous thing is, there is a laboratory and you can see the spider Plaga thing in a person's back, and they are like torturing and like experimenting on that.
Yeah. But again, the regenerator still fits into the whole science fiction-y horror aspect of Resident Evil. The baby just is straight up psychological horror that doesn't look like it belongs anywhere near this series. Because it honestly seems more like something that Silent Hill would come up with.
Yeah, but like I do like that section, but also I do understand why people maybe don't like as necessarily say that it belongs to Resident Evil, but like Resident Evil has always had those mental horrors. Resident Evil 4, Leon's vision of a freaking for freaking getting infected and that stuff.
Yeah.
And well, first of all, that baby monster belongs way more than whatever the hell happened in Resident Evil 6. The cloning shite.
Yeah, we don't talk about that.
Funniest thing is I like Resident Evil 6.
I'm sure it's fine, but like
like also the funniest thing is with Resident Evil 6, they couldn't say clones in that plotline. They couldn't because at the same time the Resident Evil movies were happening, and in those movies, the clone storyline was actually, or at the same time, happening. So Capcom to think that the freaking, if in Resident Evil 6 they would start calling Ada clones, everybody would be like, what the hell is this linked to the movie, and what the hell is like? I know that
depends. That depends. Is there a ridiculous gratuitous cameo from what's her name, Mila Jovovich?
No, there's not.
Okay, then it's not the same. These movies are shit.
Like
maybe I haven't seen them.
They are shit. Like like in the first Resident Evil movie is supposed to be the same kind of like they are separate storylines. First of all, that's a mistake that I hate. But like in Resident Evil 1 movie, the main character spends in the mansion of the first Resident Evil game like 10 minutes, and then poof, there she goes, poof. Actually, never mind. It's not 10 minutes, 5 minutes. They spend lower time on a freaking Resident Evil 1 mansion that I spend on a toilet. Like, bro, that's first of all sad, and like for Resident Evil, I believe 5th movie, they hired for Leon S. Kennedy a Estonian model who couldn't speak English properly, who couldn't say his lines perfectly.
Yeah.
Also, Resident Evil 4's original Ada, the voice actor, dubbed few lines for
dubbed over the Ada that was in that movie because she had because she was a native Chinese actress, and like she could speak English, but she has like a very thick accent.
Like she actually looks like Ada for some people. Like Leon S. Kennedy doesn't look at all like Leon or Chris Redfield or like how hard is a copy a B movie in and of itself? Because Resident Evil games are, in my point of view, B movies, like a B action movies. Like most of the time they don't take that seriously, like themselves, even though you like the main characters see.
Yeah, like it should be really easy to make a movie out of these games, and yet somehow
just follow the plot.
Somehow everyone keeps messing it up, and I'm starting to wonder if Resident Evil is just unadaptable because no one knows what to do with it. Like
the funniest thing, I believe the movie's writers said that they haven't played the games or they don't know anything about the games. Well, that tells you everything that you know.
Well, there you go.
Well, it's first of all, the first Resident Evil game is a horror game, like an actual, like not survival horror game, an actual horror game. Like in Resident Evil 1, the least thing that you wanna do is fight.
Yeah.
I know horror is way difficulter to make than action. That's why the rest of the movie, like all the movies, are action. But like, still like, ugh. And Resident Evil's dialogue in games isn't that amazing. Like sometimes it's not that amazing. Just look at Wesker's.
Here's a lockpick. It might be handy if you, the master of unlocking, take it with you.
Yeah,
that was close. You were almost a Jill sandwich.
Yeah, and like just look at Resident Evil 5's like Wesker when before spoiler alert Wesker dies. Just look at the freaking line what he says, like human race requires judgment or something like that, and then Chris Redfield says that do you take your all ideas from a comic book? Like, yeah, that's creative writing. I'm all gonna say that.
Yeah.
And like also
Ouroboros will be released into the atmosphere, ensuring complete global saturation.
I do understand Wesker's trying, like, yeah, I do, but like that writing sometimes is horrendous if you ask me, but like that's fine. They don't, most of the time the games, they don't like take themselves like super seriously, which is fun. And the games are like I said, they are amazing, and they are a good way to get into horror games. because they are not that scary in my opinion. Compared to like for games like, I don't know, Mortuary Assistant or like Outlast or Amnesia, like those games I would say are way scarier than Resident Evil games.
I played Amnesia the Bunker around Halloween last year, and that game will make you afraid of just about any sound. Any sound you make is just too much.
Yeah, but like Resident Evil games are like, first of all, Capcom's character designers are perfections. They do amazing job with characters, and I'm excited with whatever like Resident Evil 9 is gonna be. If anyone in listening haven't watched that video that I made, go yap about there in Resident Evil 9, and but like I believe like Resident Evil 5 remake and Code Veronica remake, they are both coming. They are probably gonna do the same what they did Resident Evil 2 and 3, that both teams are working on the games.
Yeah, I'd rather they didn't remake Resident Evil 5. I think it's fine the way it is, and
yeah, but like
that's just me though.
Yeah, the problem is that the original games, they have their own timelines, but these remakes and the 7 and 8 they have their own timelines. Like remake 2, 3, and 4, and Village and 7 are part of the same timeline, but the originals are not. That's the problem. Like they have to basically, for story reasons, to remake the game. But also, I'm excited, quote unquote, excited to see Capcom's getting backlash because it takes place on Africa and everybody doesn't have a brain that you are shooting zombies in Africa and you're gonna be erased because you're shooting. Like I believe one of the actors in Resident Evil 5, one of the voice actors said that I don't see a problem. It's taken it's the place where you're gonna shoot zombies is in Africa. I don't see any difference if you were shooting in Sweden or in North America or in Brazil. Like,
I mean, because it's also like a rural village in Africa where sadly a zombie outbreak would have a pretty good time down there, considering it's. Yeah, the admittedly poor living conditions, which is more reflective on what we can be doing to help countries like that.
Yeah, but the point is, I don't see that as a racist game because it's not.
Yeah, and even then, it's like, did you forget that one of the playable protagonists is also African? Did people just forget that?
Yeah, and in my opinion, one of the best characters in goddamn series, because first of all, I'm a person who enjoys good characters and I like her story. And like one thing that I would like to see in the Resident Evil 5 remake, delete that goddamn co-op. Same goes to 6. Because I understand why they made kind of the co-op, but I hate it if you're playing solo because the AI is ass.
Yeah, I played a later version of Resident Evil 5 where I guess they fixed the AI or something, or maybe I was just playing it differently, so I didn't really have much of a problem with it. But yeah, making it the game co-op just took away a lot of the horror.
Resident Evil games aren't co-op games. They are story games where you are a main character. If Capcom wants to like do the 2 playable characters, first of all, let me choose the main character. First of all, that could work. Yeah. Or do like a separate storylines that Shiva is doing something over here. Like they both start at the same point, but like they have to go to different places because maybe they belong to same organization, and the organization is like, say, in here needs help. Chris, go there. These people over need help, or Shiva, that place needs help, or something like that. But like the biggest, like Resident Evil 5 is gonna be a good test for Capcom to rework the biggest problem that Resident Evil game series games have. Resident Evil 6. because that game has like four, three story like co-op storylines, and then the fourth Ada storyline. That's a hell of a even bigger remake to get work, because that's probably gonna happen.
Just please keep mercenaries, though. Please keep mercenaries.
I believe like every Resident Evil game has a mercenaries, and it will have, because it's quite popular, dumb fun.
Yeah, like the Resident Evil 4 remake version of Mercenaries is, I think, my favorite iteration of it so far. Because like all the mechanics have been like reworked, and it's just as fun as it can possibly be.
And I believe when it's not on launch, it will get released as a free game mode. Because well, I do see why they don't launch it as a launch thing, because well, it's it's a side mode, and I would rather them take their time with the main game or fix all the bugs and that stuff, and then like, I don't know, maybe a month or two later release Mercenaries, because I believe I don't know for exactly, I don't work at Capcom, although I would wish I would work. But like, I believe it doesn't take that much time, because all the levels are done. But like, it's you have
all the levels are recycled from the main game. Yeah. Or like have a smaller separate team work on Mercenaries and just like communicate back and forth with the main team so they get the mechanics right.
Yeah, don't be like Cyberpunk and Cyberpunk's game testers, because the company who play tested Cyberpunk Cyberpunk 2077 didn't communicate with CD Projekt at all. They only said that the game is in a good state. Fuck no, it wasn't. The game was an ass state. And like, I love how Capcom is doing with the remakes. The biggest obstacle, like the biggest thing is out of the way. Like Resident Evil 4 is the biggest Resident Evil game out there, hands down, and the most loved. That was the most difficult game to remake, because how the hell you do that without like pissing off like
I was of the mind that Resident Evil 4 did not need a remake. 2 and 3, sure, because
they came
it was
like
still using
PlayStation 1.
The whole fixed camera tank controls thing, and you know, they could use a fresh coat of paint for a new audience. Resident Evil 4 like set the standard for so many different games. Like, how do you improve on that?
Yeah,
well, they did.
Well, I would say it's not as good, but it's nearly perfect compared to like to original. Like there's like you don't fight U3, for example, in the normal game. You have to in remake you're not gonna fight U3, but in the remake you fight Ada, so with Ada, and there's few numbers, but like still. It's almost nearly as perfect than the original.
Yeah, although there's a lot that there's a lot they added that it makes me prefer the remake to the original, but that's just me.
I do wish that they kind of they didn't change the villain's motivation, because the villain's motivation in the remake isn't the same as in the freaking in the original, because in the original it's like no longer the United States will police the world or something like that, because they are gonna like try to like manipulate. They kidnap USA president's daughter to can manipulate that.
I get that. It was very like consistent with the times that they were living, because it came out in 2005, and like, the Iraq War was still going on at the time.
Still, I would like to see that. But
in the remake, Sadler is now just like a religious nut, which makes him creepier, but doesn't make him as memorable of a character.
Yeah, and like first of all, he was already basically a leader of religious cult, but like it wasn't the main thing in the original. But like,
yeah, in the original, he was more using it for like
manipulating the freaking village of the
political
people.
manipulation and whatnot. Whereas in the remake, he's just a straight up
Not the case.
Yeah. Although I do prefer the remix versions of basically every other character, especially Luis and Krauser. I think they did much better in the remake. Firstly, because they both get more screen time, and second, because it's better lines and characterization.
Yeah, that is sometimes that is I sometimes I agree with that, sometimes I disagree with that, because I go both ways. Sometimes I like more of the remix, sometimes I don't, and they are, like I said, they are basic for me. They are like remake is basically perfect, basically, but there's a few things that I would like to see, like the freaking Capcom. Where the hell is my death scene where Luis shoots Leon? I would like that, but no, where that is. That was one of the best death scenes in the original.
Yeah.
Also, like I liked more Luis's personality in the original,
Yeah,
but the actor did better job in the remake than in the original.
Yeah.
And also, like, the thing is, like, original Resident Evil 2 came out like 1998, and Resident Evil 4 originally came out 2005, so there was a 7-year gap between the games, and there was, like, I believe 4 year like a difference between 2 and Resident Evil 2 remake and Resident Evil 4 remake, so we all knew way better what kind of a character Leon was in the remake.
Yeah.
And was, first of all, we had the freaking same voice actor once, because Capcom in the 2000s and 2010s changed quite a lot of Leon S. Kennedy's voice actors for some reason.
Not just Leon, but like
all
pretty much everyone. I mean, they did manage. Yeah. They kept DC Douglas as Wesker for a good long while, though he retired recently. And yeah, I will admit that the remakes version of Wesker is not particularly good, because they're not even trying to do his voice.
Yeah, and first of all, we haven't seen him basically at all. Yeah, well, there are a few minutes of screen time, but like, I'm not gonna say that is he doing a better job or a worse job, because, well, first of all, we haven't seen him in the actual game where he is, like Resident Evil 5, like in a main scene.
Yeah.
So, but I will say that his looks are basically, in my opinion, perfection. Like in compared to like the original 4 than before, he looks exactly what I wanted from Wesker.
Yeah, like everything is good except for the voice. I mean, the voice is fine. It's just that we know what Wesker is supposed to sound like.
To be fair, if the actor was told to do a different version of Wesker and not copy, then I'm gonna like, yeah, alright. Yeah. And to be fair, I don't want exactly the same like performance. Like, I'm gonna say that Nick Up, the freaking voice actor, and mocap who played Leon in the remakes and is gonna play in the remakes, he's not the same character than in the originals. Hell no, they are different, but at the same time they do same things, same kind of things, and same kind of speeds. Same goes Ada, and like everything else. And I'm hopeful that we are gonna see like characters that Resident Evil lore fanatics know, like Spencer, or more like lore between Resident Evil games. Like, first of all, like in Resident Evil Village, you can find Spencer's journal, and you can see how Mother Miranda inspired Spencer to create Umbrella and that stuff. I wanna see that more.
Yeah.
And like I wanna see a crossover between Duke and Merchant because well I think they know each other because of few Bleach lines.
Yeah.
What are you buying? Old
What are
friend,
you buying?
older.
Just something an old friend of mine used to say.
Yeah. And like, I wanna see Capcom actually made a good Resident Evil movie. First of all, it's like I wanna see them handle the production, like story writing, and not give them like I cannot give I don't know Sony or like a Warner Bros. Or anyone else to freaking. I wanna see them to do the freaking production and handle the story writing and that stuff because they know the character and that stuff. Like just look at like The Last of Us. Neil Druckmann, who is like basically the creator. No, he didn't create The Last of Us. Like he was a really big part of The Last of Us, creating that series, and he is working on the.
Yeah, I get it.
And look at that. The first season is beloved because it followed the game story, adding some things into the freaking story, and that is how it should be done. Not like
stretching it out so it can fill up an entire TV season.
Yeah, and like stick into the game's story, but like add some things. Not the way that first of all like Borderlands movie were done. That movie was horrendous.
No, no, man, no.
No, I don't wanna see ever. No, hell no. Or like
no.
Oh, look at Five Nights at Freddy's movie. People love that. People who love Five Nights at Freddy's love that because
even though it's objectively not very good, but like I can understand why people like it because it's at least entertaining.
And it follows the Five Nights at Freddy's games story and the book story. It combines like the two together.
And people feel the same way about the Minecraft movie. That even though it's stupid as all hell and not very good, it's at least entertaining.
Like the same goes like if first of all I don't pay attention to like what critics say because the movie critics, they don't like Godzilla movies. I love them and audience love them because it's dumb fun.
Yeah, I can't watch Godzilla movies, but that's more like personal reasons. Like
the Godzilla vs King Kong were amazing, dumb fun because it's supposed to be a dumb fun. It's not supposed to be a freaking taken seriously because it's freaking big ape versus big lizard.
Yeah,
it's the same like if you try to do like a freaking horror version of Mario, that it's not gonna work.
It's not like no one wants a horror version of Mario
or like unhinged Pokemon game or something like that. Well, technically unhinged is not the right. Well, it is the right word. Thanks to Niantic Freak being he took some mushrooms with some ideas thanks to the Pokemon League. And nobody will probably look at one of the Pokemon's type, whatever the name was. I don't remember, like type whatever the name was. But that one Pokemon will not look the same.
Yeah, and I can see them making sort of like a spooky Pokemon game, like in the same way that, like how Mario got Luigi's Mansion, which is not a scary game, but it is a little bit spooky. Yeah,
for like, it will be scary for like 4-year-old, for example.
For like a 4-year-old, but
Yeah. I get.
Although as the series progressed, Luigi's Mansion stopped being even spooky and just they upped the humor quite a lot.
Yeah, and like if you are making a movie or an anime or like movie or anime or a TV show, you have to follow the game story like Last of Us, or you can expand and hire good writers like Cyberpunk Edge Runners, for example, is perfect example.
Yeah, I haven't seen that.
I recommend it. it's amazing. I was in the defense that I'm not gonna watch it because I kind of didn't like it for starters, but after watching it, yeah, as a Cyberpunk fan, yeah, it's good. Or Fallout TV show, for example, Fallout show, yeah, that works.
Yeah, I saw a bit of that. I did like it, and now there's a Death Stranding movie coming out, and I am kind of looking forward to that because Kojima is
Fan of
pretty
movies.
well involved with it.
Yeah, and he's quite fan of the movies as well.
Yeah, but like, are they going to get all the same actors back? Because it, all the major characters are played by actual Hollywood actors. So
yeah, that is true. And well, first of all, for me with Death Stranding, that game is just a walking simulator. I cannot play it.
It's a very slow burn, and like for the first few hours, it's kind of a slog. But once it gets going, it really does get going. But maybe I don't know. I'm kind of used to monotony in games, just like chilling out and just doing stuff.
Yeah,
if that makes any sense.
Yeah. And like, I know everybody has their own taste. Like, I don't practically care about Mario games, but I still respect them. Or like, I don't. For a lot of people doesn't. A lot of people kind of hate. Maybe that's not the right word, but like disliked sports games. I do understand they are shite. Or like, if I like, I do sometimes buy them because I'm a fan of those sports. Or I do understand why people kind of dislike Genshin, for example, or like any gacha game for generally, but like still, everybody has their own taste on games, and there's not there is not like an objectively a good genre or a bad genre, because everybody has, like I said, like some people love Expedition 33 or Baldur's Gate 3, like I do, but some people may dislike that for X reason.
Yeah, like how this might come back to bite me in the ass, but I don't like Final Fantasy. I don't hate it, and I only understand why people enjoy it, but like it something about it just never really clicked with me. And some people might say that, oh well, Jay just doesn't like JRPGs. Well, no, that's not true, because two of my favorite games are JRPGs, like Xenoblade and Persona 5.
Yeah, from like I do kind of agree with the freaking Final Fantasy thing, because the thing is, I never got into them, but the problem is I don't know where the hell to start, because there's so goddamn many games, and where's the actual do I play them from one to the reason, or what?
The cool thing is you can play them in whatever order you want, because they're all separate stories. Final Fantasy is an anthology series, so like 7 is its own universe, 10 is its own universe, 16 is its own universe, that sort of thing.
All the thing I know that the remakes are doing what I do like, aka doing multiple parts of the game, like doing more, like it's the same with like Mass Effect 1, 2, 3. It's like they are doing Square Enix is doing with the remakes, basically, that like there's like they are following.
Sometimes those specific entries will get like sequels that expand on the story in that universe. Like for 10 there was 10-2 as it was called, and 13 for some reason got 2 sequels, which I think even people who like that game were like, okay, but why though? And 7 is like its own, straight up its own series. There's so many spin-off games.
Like, only thing that I know from Final Fantasy is Seraph, Cloud, Define, Aerith, and and
7 is easily the most popular entry in the series, and like everyone knows them. So you'd be forgiven for them being the only Final Fantasy characters you know.
And the freaking whoever Brand Star plays, the freaking Clyde, the freaking bird, that.
Yeah, Clive.
Yeah, him. That I know because I know Ben Starr is in.
Yeah, but a quick question about Clive. Why is he in Tekken?
Tekken wanted to collab with Square Enix.
Well, yeah, that I get like but like, why Clive? Why not Tifa or someone that fights with their hands? Because
Yeah,
Clive.
yeah, that's a fair
I know
argument.
people have heard this too many times and they're sick of hearing it, but yeah, Clive would work much better in Soul Calibur than Tekken.
Yeah,
I'm just saying. In fact, he plays like he's a Soul Calibur character.
yeah, that is fair, but maybe it's the reason why Clive is in the game is because that Final Fantasy is one of the most popular Final Fantasies out there, like in a recent memory.
Yeah, like 16 is the most recent entry in the series, and it's getting a lot of popularity, so they want to milk it for all it's worth. I get that.
But I don't mind it if I hear more Ben Starr's voice.
Yeah.
That guy is an absolute gem. Like, and also if anyone has freaking, I'm happy that more voice actors are getting recognized. That's an absolute lovely thing.
Yeah.
Like, just look at Shadowheart's Shadowheart's voice actor. It's freaking, she's quite popular just because Shadowheart is the reason.
Yeah.
And
and there's end of Asterion, of course.
Yeah, Neil Newbon.
I think I said his name right. Neil Newbon, who's in.
He voices like he has been in Resident Evil. He was Nikolai in Resident Evil 3. He was Nemesis. Heisenberg.
Yeah, I knew he was Nikolai. I didn't know he was Nemesis because, well, it would be kind of hard to tell if he was Nemesis because
Nemesis
considering Nemesis only has the one line.
Stars. Yeah, he does that, and Detroit Become Human. I don't remember the character's name, but he was in that. And I would say maybe one of if everybody points one person who is like a known voice actor, original Mario's voice actor is probably
Charles Martinet. He has done more than just Mario. Yeah, but he was Parthenax in Skyrim.
Yeah, but he's of course, but Mario is the biggest role he could.
Yeah, obviously, yeah. Whereas even though he's retired from the role, he's not playing Mario anymore. People still identify him as the voice of Mario.
Yeah, but I would say the new person is gonna be the same.
Yeah, the new guy is good because, well, Mario has a distinct voice. People know what he sounds like.
Yeah, and let's go 50 years or 60 years, and people are gonna say that the current guy who's voice acting is the Mario, and then maybe a new person then comes to the role, and people are starting to say that this current one is the Mario voice that we all know. And people know Jennifer Hale from Shepard, from being a female Shepard, or if actually maybe Charles is not. Maybe he is one of the. Maybe he is the popular one, but I would say that the guy who makes the EA Sports, yeah, him.
EA Sports, it's in the game.
He's also quite known because of that goddamn line.
Yeah, for one line.
And he did that because I believe nobody else did it. I believe he was like, yeah, I'm gonna do it, or something like that was the story. I don't exactly remember. And if anyone hears barking, that's my dog barking for something. And there are other voice actors like that are known, but the EA guy and the Mario's voice actor, which is, I believe he was also Luigi's and Bowser's and few other Mario characters.
Luigi, Mario, Wario, and Waluigi.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, Bowser is a different actor.
Okay. I just remember. Oh well. And like, also there's like freaking. I find it kind of funny that nowadays some Hollywood actors are starting to getting into games, like Robert Pattinson, not Robert Pattinson, Charlie Cox, the guy who plays Daredevil, is in Expedition 33.
Oh yeah, I did hear about that.
Even though people say it's Robert Pattinson, no, it's Charlie.
It's
the freaking character. Yeah, the character looks like a Robert Pattinson, but it's not.
Yeah, mainly.
Jason Isaacs, J.K. Simmons, both are in Baldur's Gate 3, for example.
Well, J.K. Simmons has been like a voice actor. Yeah. Like he does everything.
Maybe nowadays he's mostly known being. Of course, he's probably gonna all the time not be known as Jameson in Spider-Man, but like if somebody hasn't seen like Sam Raimi's Spider-Man, maybe they will say that he is probably the Omni-Man.
Yeah,
if
JJ and Omni-Man, kind of like with Mark Hamill, how he's
Luke Skywalker and Joker.
Yeah, Luke Skywalker and the Joker.
Rest in peace, Kevin Conroy.
Yeah.
That's also another voice actor that everybody knows for actually one role.
For one role.
And like, even though there will be hundreds of voice actors and actors who are gonna play Batman in animation games, anime, and movies, everybody will know that Kevin Conroy is definite version of Batman's voice.
Yeah.
But maybe this is a hot take, but I would like to see Robert Craig Smith to be the Batman voice nowadays, because he has been a Batman's voice like quite a while.
Yeah, I think Arkham Shadow, the VR game that released that was him as Batman.
Yeah, same as Arkham Origins.
Yeah, because he has a good voice for that sort of thing, and people don't really know his name, but he's done a lot of good stuff. Like he's the current voice of Sonic the Hedgehog for starters.
Yeah, and
he's also voiced Ezio, Chris Redfield for a number of games. He doesn't voice him now, but he did used to.
I believe in 5 and 6.
5, 6,
and you saw
the Revelations games, and Marvel vs. Capcom 3 and Infinite.
And I believe he's also, maybe this is a wrong game, but like not wrong game, but like a wrong movie. But I believe he's in planes or in cars.
Probably planes. I don't remember hearing his voice in Cars. I mean, I didn't watch Cars, but
and in so many others as well. But like, his voice is quite good.
Yeah,
and he also knows how to like change his voice to be like deep or in a freaking high pitch and that stuff, and that takes skill.
Yeah, he's going from Sonic the Hedgehog to freaking Batman. So
yeah,
he definitely knows how to change his voice.
I would say same goes to like freaking Reinhardt's, I don't remember the voice actor's name, but like Reinhardt's voice actor from Overwatch, like Reinhardt's voice, normal voice is like old man, but like Valkorion from Star Wars: The Old Republic, like really like low, and then Revenant's voice from Apex is like really deep, and he also is quite like good for that. Like Robert Craig Smith is perfect example. Like if you wanna be good voice actor, look what he does like with his voice. Of course,
Yeah,
you are not gonna be good at the first, but like practice, and that stuff.
Yeah, and in those terms of being able to change your voice to sound like a completely different person, like I think Tara Strong is another one.
Yeah, even though I hate her.
Like you ever played any video game ever or watched any cartoon ever? She's the girl. She plays the girl.
And even though I hate her Harley Quinn.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I do find Harley Quinn's.
No, actually, I don't hate her voice. I just hate how in Arkham Knight and Arkham Knight and in Suicide Squad in Kill the Justice League, her character was basically killed, basically.
Yeah, well, that's more writing than.
Yeah.
That's not her. That's not her fault.
Also, like in City, because in Asylum the 90s animated series was the voice actor in Arkham Asylum, but in City the voice.
In City, that's when Tara Strong began voicing Harley Quinn.
Also, DC, Harley Quinn is not Deadpool, so please stop showing him. Stop putting her into goddamn every show and every movie.
Yeah, I mean,
like,
yeah, she's a bit oversaturated now.
She has her own show, been in multiple movies. Like, oh, don't get me wrong, Harley Quinn is a good character, but like, she's not Deadpool. Like, I would understand if Deadpool would be in every Marvel movie, because Deadpool is.
That's the kind of character he is. He's fully aware that he is a character
in a comic book or in a comic game. Like,
yeah, well, that's just lazy writing.
Yeah, like the fun, like, and he is hella funny. That's also the thing with Deadpool.
Yeah.
Activision, can you please put the Deadpool game on a reasonable price on Steam, please?
Yeah, it's not up to them, unfortunately.
Yeah, because they lost their license.
You know what? In fact, I'm glad they lost their license, because it's freaking Activision.
Yeah, but still.
Can you imagine what the Insomniac Spider-Man games would have been like if Activision still had the license?
Yes, I can, because Web of Shadows exist.
Yeah.
I believe
I didn't
that's
play Web of Shadows though.
I believe that's a Activision game. I believe.
Yeah, it is. It is. You don't need to look it up. I know for sure it is.
And the funniest thing is, the guys who made Call of Duty Black Ops 1 and 2 and World of War made that game as well.
Yeah, they used to work on Spider-Man games. I know that.
But yeah, everybody play Web of Shadows. It's the best goddamn Spider-Man game out there, in my opinion.
I haven't played it, but I've heard.
Also,
I've heard it's things about it. I've heard things.
And if you have seen this, the freaking sad Spider-Man walking scene, yeah, that's from that game.
Yeah,
it's freaking, and also people probably are gonna say that Yuri Lowenthal is basically Kevin Conroy but as Spider-Man, because kind of he's in a lot of projects in Spider-Man.
Yeah, the voice just suits him. Yuri Lowenthal's voice just suits Spider-Man really well, to the point where I think, yeah, he is to Spider-Man what Kevin Conroy was to Batman.
Yeah, like some voices are that's that's that character.
Your voice, you are Spider-Man or you are Batman.
And the same probably goes to Luffy's Japanese voice actor, because or Goku's voice actor, because I believe I'm not 100% sure because I don't watch One Piece or Dragon Ball, but I know that Luffy's voice actor is the same, but I'm not 100% sure that Goku's voice actor is the same, but I believe it's the same. And
in Japanese?
Yeah.
No, actually, Luffy's voice actor voices Krillin in Dragon Ball.
Oh.
Not Goku is someone else.
Yeah, that I meant, Goku's voice actor is a different one, but he will probably this probably the same as like Kevin Conroy to Batman that he's probably known.
She actually, it's a woman.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's actually I think that's a good thing in voice acting, that a lot like you don't have, it doesn't matter your background as long as you can do the voice.
Yeah, a lot of girls or women are hired to play like younger boys, like prepubescent boys.
Yeah, because the high pitched voice and that stuff.
Like that's what boys sound like before they before their balls drop.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Like, and also like it, like I know that's some like, for example, like the same like the same point applies to like some other media that like Kevin Conroy is the Batman voice. The same applies to, I don't know, George Lucas as Star Wars. That the point still stands. Or Tolkien as like Lord of the Rings. The point still stands. Or Rowling as a Harry Potter, because they created those medias. Even though I know people don't like J.K. Rowling for reasons which I'm not going into.
For perfectly understandable reasons that become more understandable as each day goes on.
If you are interested, why go find yourself. I'm not going into that shit show.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure everyone knows about it by now.
But still, or Steven Spielberg and Indiana Jones. Yeah, he didn't create them, but like he basically, I believe he directed quite a.
Yeah, George Lucas wrote the story for the first 4 Indiana Jones movies, or like he came up with the story, like, but he heavily collaborated with Spielberg, so it is undeniably Spielberg does undeniably get most of the credit for the Indiana Jones series.
Yeah, and I would say deservedly. I would say he deserves that credit. Or same goes to Johnny Depp in Jack Sparrow.
Yeah.
That person who's gonna replace at some point, because that will happen, unfortunately, Johnny Depp is gonna get a lot of hate. Even though maybe that actor doesn't deserve it, because, well...
No, they actors like never deserve some very...
Rarely they deserve
never... Like, actors never deserve that kind of shade that fanboys throw at them.
I would say 99% of the cases, yeah. Like, for example, the actress who plays Snow White in the remake, like, basically dissed the original. I don't remember the reasons, but in that case, yes.
I think it's because the original was made in like the 1930s, and there was like a lot of outdated stuff in it, and that something could be improved on, but
you don't just diss, in my opinion, if you're doing a remake or like a new live action movie version of the original. I wouldn't diss the original movie. I would say it wasn't perfect. Or I wouldn't diss, but I would say, like, I don't know, it wasn't perfect, but it's still a great movie, like a good movie or something like that. Being respectful towards the original movie.
Yeah.
And not be like...
Obviously the original still has merit, otherwise you wouldn't be remaking it.
Yeah, and that movie is basically the reason why Disney is Disney. Because
it's done with live action remakes because no one watched it.
Yeah, well, like the original animation movies, the reason why Disney is Disney nowadays. I know Steamboat Willie, I believe it's the came out before, but like the original Snow White.
Snow White was their very first feature-length animated movie,
and it was a rocket ship to popularity on Disney's end.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, Disney, just start making animated movies, not the live action like remakes.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, they still got Lilo and Stitch coming out because I guess that movie was already done by the time they decided that live action remakes were not the way to go anymore.
Yeah, and I believe they cancelled or they paused the Tangled live action.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, for example, like Lion King, the first and the Mufasa movie. Yeah, they look great. Yeah, they look like a real life animals to some extent. Yet, but still, like that. If I'm going into watching a Lion King movie, I'm not going into watching the freaking movie because it's a freaking look.
Yeah,
they
like
look
we want
like
to replicate. You want to replicate the success of the original? Okay, then just re-release the original in theaters for a couple weeks or something like that. Like no one wants this. Just doing the same thing over again, but worse.
If like I would say the best way of doing a live action version of the movie, like do a prequel story or something like that. Like
yeah, which they did, but it turns out it sucked.
Yeah, but like still that is way more original than doing the same thing twice. Like
Did I ever tell you the definition of insanity? Insanity is
doing the same
doing
thing
the
twice.
exact same fucking thing over and over again, expecting it to change.
Yeah, and like I would rather take a shit version of a shit prequel to a loved story than a freaking the same movie.
At least that way people can be like, well, that was shit and just forget about it. But now they're going to be talking about this stuff for years to come, and Disney's never going to be able to live it down.
And like, first of all, how difficult it is to like manage Star Wars? Like, Jesus Christ, that is a mess.
Yeah, it's not that. I mean, there has been good Star Wars media that's come out under Disney's umbrella, like The Mandalorian is a good show, and Andor, which I haven't seen, is supposedly fantastic.
Well, the problem with Andor, what I have heard is, first of all, the freaking director said that he didn't know that he was making a Star Wars show. And in season 2 there is R-worded scene, like the big bad R-word, the SA. Let's just say that it crepe is similar to that word, crepe.
Oh
yeah, there is that
Star Wars.
Yeah.
My God.
Like that. Again, YouTube. Grape. Not.
I'm gonna tie you to the register and I'm gonna grape you.
Not the R word. The C. Grape. I'm saying with the C. YouTube, don't ban this.
Yeah, I know.
I'm just making sure that YouTube's bot is understanding it.
Yeah, I mean, you can always beep it out in post or something.
But like,
but yeah, like I don't need that word.
Yeah, but for like
in my mouth, like
the freaking in like Star Wars has always had like implications of the, like, first of all, like in Star Wars Episode 3, like when Anakin goes to like to the youngest, that is an implication what Anakin is doing, because you don't have to show that. It's an implication that oh great, yeah, recipes those.
Yeah.
But it's not like you have to show that. And like also like it doesn't belong to Star Wars in my opinion.
Yeah, like
you can implement you can implement things, but you don't have to show them. Like
it's like if they suddenly put like a whole bunch of blood and guts and swearing in Star Wars. Like I imagine that would happen, but we don't need to see it.
The plot thing I would like. The thing is, there is, and yet I know there's few comic books that will work, but I would like to see a horror Star Wars movie based on a book.
Supposedly one's actually being made.
I want that. But like there is a comics book that basically is Star Wars zombies.
Yeah. Star Wars Galaxy of Fear, I think it was called.
But I would like to see a movie, a horror movie based on the book. I believe Star Wars Dead or something like that, where a virus like is like going into like a star, freaking starship, and the whole like the whole thing gets infected. It's basically Star Wars zombies. Like it's based on a book. It's a freaking.
Yeah, I can see that working.
It's a freaking horror.
Of course, big twist. It's not a virus. It's the dark side.
I'm trying to freaking. Yeah, it is actually. It was created by Imperial. Like, it was supposed to be a bio weapon.
Right.
I'm trying to freaking. It was
the dark side is the pathway to many abilities, some considered to be unnatural.
Yeah, it was called Star Wars Project Blackwing. It basically turned people, stormtroopers, and all the things to zombies, basically.
Yeah.
And even though it's a horror. You could like pick, and because on that series, Darth Vader is on that, so you could sell figures about that. Even you could like put Darth Vader in that, and bada boom, everybody likes Darth Vader.
Yeah,
and like it's not like, first of all, it's not hard to make good Star Wars. Like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, like it's a whole massive universe. Like we don't. If you just keep putting the same characters in the same stuff, it just seems like tiny. Like my brother and I had a discussion about how often Darth Maul is used in media now. When in his original appearance, we didn't know anything about him, and that's what made him so intriguing. But now he's in everything now.
Yeah, that I do kind of get that, but like at the same time. In most of the time, when he is at the screen, I loved it.
Yeah, I imagine that. Yeah,
but I do understand that point.
Even if he is overused, he's still used well.
And like, there isn't that many other characters that are like still respected, like that aren't turned into shit. and the funniest thing / saddest thing is like they are making a Star Wars Darth Maul show that is basically following what George Lucas wanted to do for 7, 8, and 9 before Disney fired him of doing that.
Yeah.
In 7 and 8 there was supposed to be like a storyline where Darth Maul is training a female Talon as a apprentice. And she will be the main bad guy, Darth Maul, and she will be the main bad guy of the sequels. But Disney made that shit show of Force Awakens, Last Jedi, and Rise of Skywalker, which is disappointing.
That's where I think we disagree, because I actually like Force Awakens and The Last Jedi.
Force Awakens,
Rise of Skywalker, I do not like at all. I would go as far as saying it's the worst film in the entire series.
Somehow Palpatine return. I don't.
Even though Force Awakens is basically just a New Hope again, but I think if you think about it, it's sort of like a clever way of showing that history will keep repeating itself as long as people don't learn from it.
Yeah. And the thing is, J.J. Abrams knew that he was copying New Hope, so I accept that. He said that he was new. He was.
Yeah, they were playing it safe to introduce Star Wars to reintroduce Star Wars.
What the fuck?
And The Last Jedi, I think, I liked it quite a lot about it. There's admittedly things in it that don't make any sense or don't go anywhere, but if they had stuck to their guns and expanded on that stuff in the following movie, I think people would have been a lot nicer to it. But then Rise of Skywalker came out and tried to course correct everything, and everything fell flat.
Like also the freaking like Ryan Johnson said to J.J. Abrams, because Ryan Johnson saw the script of Force Awakens. In the end, like in the last 30 seconds when Luke arrives to the not Luke, Rey arrives to the planet, there was supposed to be there was going to be a scene where Luke is like using the Force to like practice and that stuff, but Ryan said that nope, don't do that, no. And like also like JJ has said, and a lot of like people have said this, Disney didn't have a plan when they're making the freaking sequels, which is ass, because
yeah, they're
like you can just look the like first Rey was supposed to be like Obi-Wan's daughter, then she was a nobody, then out of fucking nowhere Palpatine's granddaughter. First of all, how the hell Palpatine was getting that that good. So,
well, supposedly his Rey's father of sorts was
a failed Palpatine clone or something like that, I believe.
Yeah, so
but still,
he's her grandfather by technicality.
Yeah, but like still, like I would have loved that if freaking Rey was just nobody. That would be better.
Yeah, that's what I've been saying. Like, because it shows that you don't have to be special to, or you don't have to come from a prestigious lineage to make a difference in something. You can be literally just some dude or some girl, and you can help change the world.
Yeah.
Like, she didn't have to be a Skywalker. She didn't have to be a Kenobi. She could just be herself. And it looked like that was the direction they were going in, but of course, Rise of Skywalker was more concerned with pandering to the base and being fan fiction, and just messed everything up.
Yeah, like the best scenario would be just if they would have hired George Lucas, because George Lucas was actually writing like 7, 8, and 9. He had like an actual plan like for like the series, because that way. Yeah, maybe the movies would have sucked, because Attack on Clones is not a good movie, or Phantom Menace, but still, it's the creator of Star Wars. Like, come on, like give him
really, the stories are good. It's just that the execution was not what it could have been, because
the direction and the dialogue.
He was given free rein to do whatever he wanted, and there was no one challenging his ideas. And if that happens, like, sometimes things just like don't add up. Like, oh, here's a cool idea that I'm just going to fully implement, and there's no one telling you, okay, no, let's hold on a second. Most of this is good, but let's talk about all the other stuff and see if we can fine tune it a little bit.
And this is maybe to some extreme Star Wars fans, but like, I say that George Lucas is best at world building, like creating the world, creating the stuff, not like writing dialogue, because the dialogue is clanky quite often times. Like, just look at Anakin.
It's iconic at this point, but it's
and hella memeable.
I don't know. Maybe that was the point, because like the original trilogy is full of so many memeable lines.
Yeah, well, yeah, but the clankiness is in the original is fine, but like what I mean is, look at the prequels dialogue. It's like, and like in my point of view, it like, yeah, in my opinion, Star Wars Episode 1 shouldn't happen how it happened. It would have like you see the list of like Star Wars movies that you have like in the watch order. Some lists that say that just don't watch Episode 1, because what you miss if you don't watch it, you will miss Duel of the Fates, arguably one of the best songs in the goddamn series. You will miss Darth Maul and Qui-Gon dying. What else? You don't miss basically anything else. So
yeah,
maybe
pretty much.
I would say do like episode 1 will be Attack on Close, and the episode 2 would have been like an actual like Clone Wars film, because Clone Wars, if you just look at the films, Clone Wars is pretty sad of a war. Like, you don't care about that at all if you just watch the movies. You're like, who the hell these are? They look the same. They are exactly the same. They sound exactly the same. and the other side, you have droids that look the same, are not at any time intimidating, and that stuff. And like, what the hell? So if there would have been like a second film just focusing on that, that would have been way better than what we got. But thanks to those movies, we got Clone Wars, which is a hell of a good show, if you ask me.
Yeah.
Now the last question. Now to wrap this up, I have a few questions that are quite simple, not that deep.
Hopefully won't lead into massive hour-long tangents about Resident Evil or voice acting or Star Wars.
Yeah, don't worry. What are your plans for the future?
Well, right now, I'd really like to go to TwitchCon just so I can like meet new people and connect with the bigger creators, and yeah, because I'd like to get to the point where I am a big creator myself and I can like make things, because as the rookie writer portion of my intro might say, I am also a writer. Like, I've written quite a few stories set in their own universe that I was doing before I started VTubing. It's sort of like a modern. Sorry, there's a mosquito in my room. Sort of like modern fantasy where humans and like folkloric creatures coexist, and they're like sort of fighting to keep the peace against like other supernatural threats and all that. Gee, this sounds like Monster Moose to me. Yes, but there's none of the hentai shit.
The show is quite tame.
Yeah,
I tell you for that.
But I have seen it and I've read some of the manga. But like at the same time, like,
I know what you mean.
That's it's porn. It's porn basically. It's just it's softcore porn.
Yeah, but still, like, it's similar to that, but not with the corn.
Like, it takes the concept of like humans and monsters coexisting and just sort of expands on it, like well, okay, I'm honestly not very good at explaining it. That's one of the things that I need to work on is elevator pitches, but yeah, that's something I do tinker with in the background now that I'm more committed to streaming, and hopefully I can continue growing that. But yeah, as for what I'm doing now, I just want to like keep reaching new heights, meeting new people, making new friends, and feeling like I can actually do something that people will like.
Yeah, I get that as a writer myself. That is, yeah, I would like that. Like, maybe this is a bad advice, but I don't know. If you have that vision and that written already, maybe I would like in your books, in your books, I will try to reach out for like some manga artist, maybe to see if they are like.
Yeah, maybe I did do that, but I ended up getting in touch with the freaking art fraud, because they're absolutely rampant these days, and yeah, that's a whole other story that
but in the future, when
a little bit on stream,
in the future when you're feeling again like you wanna do that and like actually proper work like with artists.
Yeah, like an actual artist and not just some middleman that like shells the work out to some sap on Fiverr and then just presents it to me as their own work, and then starts begging for money to like take care of rent and
or my mother is at the hospital, please, I need help.
Yeah, that's actually exactly what happened, but well, not exactly, but close enough.
Yeah, but like there are like I think like Fiverr is somewhat good website for certain, like if you need, like I have hired some like people from that to make
it's
like,
not to knock anyone on not to knock anyone on Fiverr. There's some genuine talent there, but I feel like the common theory is that a lot of these art frauds like take advantage.
I get that. But like maybe this is a bad idea, but like go to maybe I don't know, DeviantArt when you are ready to actually try this. DeviantArt, like manga artist, and I believe like in DeviantArt they're like actually contact details, and like contact them and ask.
Oh yeah, I used to work with people through DeviantArt, and I've turned out some really good stuff with them, and I'm also working. I've also worked with people on VGen more recently, and that's been great. Yeah, because VGen is better place for getting art, because it's an actual place where artists sell their stuff. Yeah, and like they actually like do checks on the artists and to make sure that they're actual artists and not just AI or like fraud and that stuff. AI or grifters. Yeah, like I'm working on a whole video about AI fraud and like how to not AI and people art fraud and how to identify the signs and all that. Like because there's like a whole bunch of shit here. Like I'm basically a master at picking these people out now. Yeah, and that's one of afraid that I have with my games, like concept art, because I wanna do concept art, but I do not exactly know, because if I put a freaking post on a Twitter, Jesus Christ, I'm gonna get screwed. Yeah, I am self art at 50% rate for a limited time for that sort of shit. Yeah, and I have to just find a correct website, or like a correct freaking marketplace. If you announce it, you're just gonna get a bunch of fraudsters. Like this is the same reason I had to take the link to my Discord off of my Twitter profile, because there was so many art frauds just flooding the place. Yeah, that is annoying, but it is not. It's the more annoying. What the hell you can do about it? But like, yeah, that's something that you wanna do. What else? Is there anything else that is in the plans? Other than other than just make content and stream and that stuff. Well, as you probably know, I did put out a song cover yesterday, and I want to keep doing some of that, and hopefully eventually do my own original music once I get around to composing it and finding someone that I'd be okay working with. It is just me here. Like I don't have a manager. I don't have a partner that can help out with all the tech stuff. Like it's just me and all this other and all these wires tangled in all these strings. Yeah, and whenever like I know that problem is like huge for people who are like by yourself, like you, who don't know jack shit of like composing or like don't know jack shit of like mixing or anything when it comes to song, like doing a song or any, like that's why like I like VGen, because on VGen for example, like a VGen, I know that I chill out for that place. Please sponsor me, please. There are like God, excuse me. There are like some mixers on that website too, like, which is amazing. Like if you like that's what I did for my most recent covers. That I hired someone on VGen, and they did a great job. And that's why I say that I have started to actually try to ask quote unquote random people, or some people I have only talked
a little that if they know somebody, like actually nobody, so somebody that actually makes that stuff, like actually mix, like is not a fraud or a cheater or anything like that. If they know somebody who could do that, so I could.
Yeah, the golden rule I feel is that if someone reaches out to you on social media and offers art services, they're a fraud.
I would say that's 99% times, but
yeah, well, 99. Yeah, like if you know them a little more closely, then it's different. But
or if they have done work with somebody that you know.
Yeah, like if it happens to be a friend of yours who's also really into art, and they say, hey, let me do something for you.
Yeah, that's
most of the time, a real artist will not reach out to you. It's supposed to be the other way around.
It's the same with all things, because if for example, if I'm buying a game console, the freaking seller man is not coming at me to freaking like selling. I'm going to the store to buy that game console, not the other way. It's not that difficult of a concept.
Like someone offers to sell you a PS5 and you agree, and then next thing you know, you get like a
rock
Polystation X923, or something like that.
And then you are gonna get scammed, or you have to pay scalper prices, which is not good, because Jesus Christ.
Yeah, that's right, you little fuckers. We're on to you. We're on to you, and we will show you no mercy.
Yeah, and like I said, VChan is a good place. Fiverr is good place, but I would be more careful with Fiverr, because there could be like AI artists and that stuff. If you're looking for an AI artist, you have to go for it. But like AI artist, quote unquote, is like, I know that
AI art is not art.
Yeah, I know, but I know
it's not art.
And like, if you're looking a person who does AI art or AI stuff in general,
reevaluate your life choices, please.
And not exactly, but most of the time.
Exactly,
but yes, if that person who is involved like with AI, and that AI is about like art, yes. But if the AI, for example, in game development, there is people who are like are using AI like on a good thing.
Oh, sure, like AI upscaling and all that. That's like running something through the computer to like enhance something. But that's kind of different, because you already made it, and the AI is just there to like to help boost it up a little bit. If the AI is just doing everything for you, then what good are you, right?
Yeah, like it's some game companies are using AI in a good way, like they put a script in AI that checks in the game code is there errors, for example, and again then like, for example, Larian Studios is using like that, like AI in a good term, like using AI for like getting rid of the useless shit that the game developers have to fix, like all the tedious work. But it will not replace like story writers, animators, character design, and that stuff. Like,
and even then, like machines still make mistakes because they don't understand context or things like that. So
but for like I said, for example, the game code. If the game code has an error and the AI checks it and it has mostly like the AI said that there's not problems, I would say it's way better than the human checking manually hours and hours and hours. It's way better than that.
Like even I use the video editing software that I have, it has an option for like an AI background remover, where like, say if I'm trying to like get an image to put in my video, but I need to like cut the background out. Sometimes if chroma keying doesn't work, I can click that option and the AI will do it for me. That's helpful, but it doesn't always work, and even then, like, you know.
Yeah, and that's like I said, AI is a good tool, but it's just for that purpose. like I have done that too. Not the AI, but like with the chroma keys.
It's been mass adopted by grifters who are like trying to make a quick buck by having the AI do all the work for them.
Yeah, it's annoying and that stuff.
Yeah.
And the last question is, what's your favorite part being a VTuber?
Well, being able to play video games for hours on end and calling it work. that's part of it. But honestly, it's all the people that I've met through VTubing and reaching out that I honestly would not have met otherwise. Like if the two of us weren't streamers and we didn't happen to also both be into Dead by Daylight, I don't think we ever would have. You and I like never would have met. I don't think. Right? I wouldn't. Well, I mean, the possibility would still be there, but I wouldn't know you as well as I do now. Like you, Mag, Nuna, or any of them. And like, I'm just really happy that VTubing has been able to bring all of us together, and that I have all these friends that I wouldn't have made otherwise.
Yeah, that is a valuable argument with VTubing, and that I would say people will agree with that. That VTubing allows you, of course, if you're content creator, you can still meet new people, but
well, yeah, but this is like another avenue to explore that will help me, come out of my shell a bit, and generally be a better person, because like I said, I'm kind of a shut-in. I'm actually really shy in real life. People probably won't get that just from watching my streams and whatnot, but but once I start meeting someone and I start, befriending them, like once you become my friend, I will do anything for you.
Yeah. And
even if I used to be absolutely terrified of you.
Yeah, like you said, it has been allowing you to meet new people and that stuff. And it's probably, for me, it's that's part of it, but like it's just that VTuber has been allowing me to be better speaking.
Yeah.
Because I'm forced to speak. Rest in peace, my throat. And also, it's has been allowing me to get into new projects that otherwise I probably wouldn't be doing.
Yeah, like that's another thing. That's VTubing is the most creatively rewarding thing I've done in a very long time. Like yeah, I'm a writer. I write stories and whatnot, but you know, it's like you don't exactly see my name being plastered on billboards or anything like that, or see me make the New York Times bestseller list or anything like that. So that's something that'll take a lot longer to really, become worth the effort.
Yeah, but at the same time, you can get to a billboard. Just look at Iron Mouse. You can be in the billboard. Iron Mouse got in.
But Iron Mouse is a very special case.
Yeah, but I mean, there is a chance. And
yeah, there is a chance.
You can hope.
Like one in 9 billion or something like that, because Iron Mouse's situation is very different than the rest of us, and she puts in so much work and is just like an inspiration to everybody that has ever ever gone into the same field as her, or ever interacted with her, or really just ever knew about her, because she's just, the fact she can do all this work while dealing with such a debilitating problem, and like honestly, you just want to give the girl a massive hug.
Yeah,
just thank her for everything.
Yeah, and she doesn't deserve the stupid hate that she gets.
Yeah, but that's the hand she was dealt, and she is playing it to the best of her ability, and she's just doing absolutely fantastic.
And other example is like other examples getting just look at Hololive and getting into baseball teams. I know that is also special occasion.
Dura singing "Take Me Out to the Ball Game." Yeah, that will never not be an absolute joy to see.
Yeah, but still, like I said, all the VTubers have a chance.
Yeah, everyone has a chance.
Like one of my biggest dreams is to get into these into like VTuber cards, like same as like Kuro, Matarkana, and that stuff.
Like
a game, like a Pokemon card.
You want to get your own V card?
Yeah, V card. Yeah, that's the right word. I'm gonna get that.
That'd be pretty sweet.
Or my own figurine. That would be that like that would be the dream.
Once you start getting fan art or like official merchandise, I like to think you've made it.
Yeah.
Like someone made a tiny animation of me, like they recreated my model in Vroid and like had me lip sync to the Michael Rosen bit, till it's cool, just cool, then into the mouth. Nice. And I think he did that just because he heard me going nice on stream too many times. But yeah, it was really neat. Sorry, I went on a bit of a tangent there.
Don't mind it. And in my opinion, if you can just like, I would say, if you can start paying your rent and your like food and that stuff with content creation, you made it. That's basically that's your job. That is that.
They'll get their rent when they fix this goddamn door.
But like when you made it into that, yeah, that's the perfect.
Yeah, once it becomes a job you can actually live on. I can understand that.
Yeah. I say that's everything that I wanted to talk about with you. Every source that Jay uses is gonna be linked below, and go and follow him in everything. If he streams and you are watching, and you're coming to his streams from this, go and say hi from Walter.
You will come and visit Jay Byrne's stream. You will like the stream. You will follow the stream. You will subscribe and give him all your money. If you can't give $5 to your streamer, then you're just irresponsible with your money. I wonder how long he can go on like this before he gets tired of his own bullshit. Okay, I'm done.
And that stuff. And if you ever buy from Waifuwares or PoggersShop, use my code waltercc. They are the same, and you'll support your boy. So yeah. If you enjoy the content, please subscribe and like, it will help. And yeah, I will see you next week. Bye.
Bye.